So thank you everyone from joining this event. A very warm welcome to you. So we will be dividing this session. And the agenda for today is that we'll spend 5 minutes on telling you about our commitment and purpose of the Vynners community. Within, I will be handing it over for celebrating our Star Vynners, telling their winning stories. We would leave some time at the end for the question and answers. So please use the chat function to pop in your questions. We'll be making a note of these and we will take all of those up at the end of the session. And then we will be wrapping it up. So yeah, looking at a very engaging session with you here today. So welcome everyone to our growing community across 13 countries and counting. And we come here together with a common purpose to simplify business operations, bring agility and efficiency at work, and embrace safety and sustainability at the core of everything we do every day at work. Our clients and us, we cherish and embody the core Vyn values of simplicity, velocity, trust, and mutuality. And that's why this whole community event comes together. And we are here to say a big thank you and sincerely celebrate the Vynners who have joined us on a journey of innovative and transformative business change. So yeah, a very warm welcome and a big thank you, everyone. And for the purpose of our event today, which is our fourth Vynners community, you are our center of attention, and you are the best music makers, our dreamers, innovative change champions. Ones who have shown the utmost commitment to lead, inspire, and make real difference. So we invite you, our customers, to share some of your experiences, your challenges, and your victories with us on this journey. Thank you for being here. And yeah, so that's what we'll do. We'll be celebrating everyone. Now a little bit about our the commitment and our purpose and what the Vyn values totally talk about. Client success, the function is very closely entwined with the client, the people, the people. And all the names which you see here I've been very closely involved. Our function has been closely involved with all of them to make it a success. And they have seen the success that Vyn brings. Now, what we do at Vyn in the client success function is that we establish your drivers right from the outset. This enables us to, establish significant business values and outcome. We set up work with your teams to simplify, build and deploy the digital remote assurance capability, highlight some of the, some of the areas in which we work with you. We bring it up to the forefront while delivering the ESG values. So Mala, if you can proceed to the values slide. Yeah, thank you. So of all the roles, all the changes which Vyn has brought to the clients and some of the things which our clients have seen, the values are, they have seen a reduction in reworks, reduction in site visits, while saving carbon miles, enhancing digital skills and saving lives. We reduce claims, increase NPS and upsells, proactive compliance, mobilization of experts. So these are some of the case studies or the user journeys which we have been a part of. So for example, like to reduce site visits and rework, we replaced installation reports with digital self-audit by contractors to accelerate site acceptance and handover. Similarly, reduce site visits and reworks on the sites. So we have helped digitize, automate some of these journeys by understanding the need, working closely with you, the client, to I think, bring about the change, which we know is not easy, but you, our champions, have helped us deliver value for everyone. I'll hand this over to Mala to celebrate Win's successes. So over to you, Mala.
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much. My name is Mala Morris, and I am going to spend a few minutes with you to share with you who our Star Vynners are and talk to them as well. But you heard from Charu the previous Star Vynners who we had celebrated over the last three such Vynners community event. This is the fourth Vynners community event. And we couldn't have, of course, created all this value without our customers, partners and well-wishers, and all winners who are also winners. So there's a bit of a play of words over there. And thank you to all of you also for the recognition we are getting. And what you can see on the screen is, and I'm going to move your eye from left to right, is we are really committed to sustainable innovation. And you can see our CEO, Kapil Singhal, Vyntelligence, was invited to join our clients at the COP26 on the topic of powering change together. It was a perfect theme for an insightful event, which was hosted by our client, SSE Energy Solutions, to discuss the impact and role of businesses towards building a sustainable future. We were also invited by RSK Group, another client, to discuss the topic of collective thinking and working together. Both topics are really close to our heart. And to the right of the screen, what you can see is Vyntelligence won last week the best smart network solution and standout performer in the inaugural Global Energy Tech Awards 2021. And then the bottom left, what we love most is customer endorsement, more than awards really. So Talent is a leading technology company and a specialist in the design, build, support, and management of UK's critical digital infrastructure. And you may have heard about them. And they have selected Vyntelligence as a digital partner to support major communications refresh in the NHS ambulances across England. And in the middle and bottom of the screen, what you see is SSE Energy Solutions announced that they're partnering with Vyntelligence to improve customer experience and accelerate towards net zero 2050, where AI-powered Vyn Smart Video Notes has been proven to reduce customer contacts, yet improving resolution times and cutting carbon emissions through fewer energies made. So now, as you all know, SSE Energy Solutions is part of the FTSE-listed SSE PLC and provides access to green energy straight from SSE's UK wind farms to 500,000 customer metering points. Finally, and that's a really nice segue for me, is that Vyntelligence has been chosen to support Project Cartref, and that was another, public announcement that went out. And endorsement from clients is really exciting for us. And we've been chosen to support Project Cartref, Welsh Water's flagship program, to help target customer side leakage. By partnering with us, Welsh Water customers engaged in the Cartref program will be able to use their mobile device to video and register an internal problem such as a leak. So that kind of takes me on very, very nicely to the next part of the event. Charu and the customer success team have invited me to kind of have a Q&A session with the Star Vynners. And so I'm going to do that now. Who are the Star Vynners? There are three of them today. You have Euan Hampton. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Euan. And Andy Waterworth and Mike Lapper, all three from client organizations. And over the next 15-20 minutes, or maybe a little bit more, I think we'll be doing around 7 to 8 minutes each. I'll just kind of invite each one of them, and I will share a bit of an introduction, and we'll start a Q&A. As a reminder to all our guests, please type in your questions in the chat function. My colleague Vineet from customer success will pick them up. We'll curate them, and we will have an audience Q&A at the end of the session. So let's get started. We're going to start with Euan. And so as you know, Euan is from Welsh Water, and Welsh Water is a not-for-profit company which supplies drinking water and wastewater services to most of Wales and Herefordshire. I'm from Hertfordshire. I was tempted to say Herefordshire. In total, it serves around 1.4 million households and businesses, as well as around 3 million people. So now about Euan. Euan has been working for Welsh Water for a little over 3.5 years and is a program manager within the water engineering department. He's responsible for the delivery of the Cartridge program, which has been set up to identify customer side leakage, including plumbing laws, and it offers customers a range of free repair services. I wish I lived in Wales, in areas where leakage remains high. Prior to this, Euan worked within the water assets team as an innovation scientist, supporting and facilitating innovation projects across water services. This role was an excellent introduction into Welsh Water for him. And prior to this, Euan spent 7 years working for Natural Resources Wales in natural sciences and flood risk management on the capital program as a project manager. And he's been a flood risk consultant for a number of consultancies before this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Euan. And before we start the Q&A, I'd like to read out what the customer success team has shared with me. Yeah, welcome Euan for our event today. I'm going to pin you as well. Now let me try and do that. How do I do that? Yes, yeah, there you are. Add spotlight. Awesome. Okay, so this is what, just a quick technology check. Can you guys see both Euan and me?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So this is what my customer success team has given me to read about Euan. Euan is agile at heart and mind. During the trial, he was very quick to see the benefits of Vyn for customer engagement in Project Cartref. He has been instrumental in trying new methods of engaging customers across multiple channels, including with the use of Vyn QR code. And the results of this are fantastic. Thank you, Euan, for being with us today. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good morning. Yeah, good afternoon. And you made me blush. It's quite an introduction, that was, so thank you very much. I can't see myself, so this is a bit odd, but let's give it a go and see what happens.
Never mind. I'm sure you're doing fine. I can see you, so that's great.
Okay, cool. I realized I needed a haircut in that photo as well. Oh my gosh, it's quite impressive, that hair. Anyway, yes. Hello. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah, we have quite a few people on the call, all ready to go. So, Euan, my first question for you is that, innovation is anything but business as usual. What are your thoughts on that?
I think.
Can we have others going on mute, please? Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. So for me, I think innovation should be a core business objective. And so in that respect, I guess I'd probably say it was a business as usual activity. I think often people don't see it as business as usual. But innovation itself should look, I guess, to shake things up, how we do things, how we approach and deliver core activities which may be considered as business as usual. And so, yeah, in my opinion, that drive to innovate, that culture is critical within any successful business. So, yeah, I'd say it was business as usual. It's something we try and instill in all our new recruits, as it were, especially within our team. Maybe that's my innovation background, I guess. But it's definitely a sort of core cultural element that we look for in our staff. Because, in my opinion, we should always be trying to identify challenges or blockers to ensure that to see where there's inefficiency, I guess, and then look to innovate from that. So it's key to find the problems and then shake it up.
Oh, yeah, that makes kind of a lot of sense. And at Welsh Water, you led the project. And what were your reasons for trialing Vyn, and why now?
So I shouldn't take all the credit there. I think we worked with. We've got a very good innovation department within Welsh Water who are constantly looking for new technology and taking problems from other teams and trying to find solutions. So yes, I led the trial from our team, but also there were multiple little trials going on across the business. The Vyntelligence solution actually came through our innovation conference. So a big shout out to our innovation team there and try and get people onto it every year, where we go out to solution providers with our challenges and see what comes back. So it was great that Vyntelligence came to that event, and the rest is history, I guess. Our car trev program was very new at the moment, so we obviously had the pandemic, which put us back a little bit when we were trying to get into people's properties, but it was ideal time for us, really. We were starting to ramp up our offering. We were coming across more and more challenges in our day-to-day activities, especially with our plumbers going into properties. And so we saw that Vyntelligence could offer, potentially at that point, a solution to make us a bit more efficient. So it worked out very well in terms of time, really.
Okay, yeah. So tell me one thing. I mean, what I can hear you say is that you have a very good innovation team, and innovation is actually business as usual for you guys. But then there is always a phased approach that most businesses take. And we all know that change is hard. What did you do to move it from the initial phase or the innovation phase to the business as usual phase, particularly with the Vyntelligence project?
So whenever we do a trial, the first thing we try and do is set a range of success factors to ensure, I guess, that at the point at which it comes out of trial, it's there or thereabouts ready for business as usual. It shouldn't be such a great leap into a business as usual sort of adoption. And I think it's from the start, we were very keen to get other teams involved across the business. We're like a freight ship, really. We're a very large organization with lots of different compartments, and can face lots of challenges, I guess, when you get to the point of integration into business as usual. So it was very important for me to get lots of people involved that weren't necessarily within my team, but would enable that business as usual transition, to understand the challenges right from the start and to understand the solution that was being put forward. We ensured, I guess, from day one working with you guys, that the solution put forward was simple. It would be very easy to adopt from a customer point of view, and it had the potential as well to integrate with our own systems. So that was, it worked well. I've seen lots of innovation trials in the past fail quite considerably in transition to BAU. I think there's lots of terms for it, isn't there? Like the chasm of doom, and lots of things where all these innovation trials just sort of free fall and never come back up. But you have to understand, I think, whenever you're doing an innovation trial, that it's very rarely completely ready to go into business as usual. You have to believe in the solution and understand if the solution is right, but you need to be able to tinker with it, really. Oh gosh, my face has popped up. You need to be able to tinker with it to enable it to fit snugly. It's not going to be completely perfect. So while it's good to fail fast, and I like the term failing fast, that isn't an excuse to just give up. You can't just give up on things. If you completely believe that it's almost there, you need to give it one last try and try and adapt it and to bring it in. I think we saw that, for example, when we were issuing VINs through a text message. We thought that was the business as usual process, but it didn't work. We lost a few customers along the way, and so we mixed it up and integrated it into our social media posts, so there was a much more fluid process. And I think, you need to make sure that you're able and willing to change your own processes and procedures to manage to integrate something in. It shouldn't just be that you stay the same and have an add-on. You need to change
it's about being agile and trying different things in an iterative fashion. And so what are some of the business outcomes you're beginning to realize? Because what I can kind of fathom is that you are building in some remote capability as well now. So what are some of the outcomes that you're beginning to realize?
Yeah, the primary one is improved efficiency, really. So when we're sending people out to undertake repairs, we need, first of all, to understand whether we can or not. We had a significant number of previous visits being wasted, and it was a clear inefficiency and cost to the business. So that's the primary one, really, that we can triage a problem before we even book an appointment. Mm-hmm. But because of that, then we can set the customer expectation from day one. Again, you open yourself up to complaints and a real risk where you set up an appointment on the basis that you're going to come and do a repair. You get there, you realize, it's maybe a fancy Japanese toilet or something like that they don't sell the part down the road. So we just need a bit more time to find a replacement part. It's not that we can't do it, but it enables us to set that expectation from day one, which is a much easier conversation then with that for our plumber, with the customer. And as I said, consider any engineering difficulties. So, for example, we're not able to get into boxed in toilets and simple things like that may be behind tiles or baths panels and things like that. So we can have a discussion with the customer up front about making sure that space is accessible for us to be able to do the repair, just because we're not really insured to start taking up tiles. And finally, health and safety. So looking, we are working in bathrooms. We are working in, people's bathrooms, and people's bathrooms are very different in terms of hygiene and things like that. Let's just go for that. So we want to make sure that the environment we're sending our plumbers in is okay and safe. So we've managed to spot some visits where we need to have an honest conversation with the customer, just to say we need things a bit cleaner, or we spotted a dog in the video, for example, and we've been able to say, are you able to keep the dog in a separate room while we're in the property? So lots of additional health and safety things.
So very simple things, but very important things to, invest both in your people as well as in your customers. And
Exactly.
Euan, I can see you are a digital trailblazer. Any top tips or watch outs that our audience need to be aware of from a practical perspective when they're trying to emulate the kind of success that you have achieved?
Yeah, my team would definitely not say I was a digital trailblazer. I'm very behind on some things, especially social media. So I like that comment. I think, first of all, is to work together with the supplier. It's not, it should be a mutual relationship. It should be almost, symbiotic in the fact that there's an interest in both sides to get this right. It's not just a sales technique. You need to work together. So if something isn't working or isn't right, you need to give the supplier a chance to fix that or to offer a solution. And I think I found Vyntelligence very, very supportive in that, and actually really engaging to be able to make sure that the product we were getting is the right product for us. But also, you got the sale at the end of the day, and it's mutual, isn't it? Yeah. I think you need to be willing to consider, as I said before, you're changing your own or adapting your own processes and procedures. You can't see a successful innovation sort of solution as a bolt-on. It needs to be fully integrated, and maybe you need to give a little bit either side of that in terms of your process and procedures to make sure it all fits together. One thing I found is to consider the opportunities across the business. So we've done a lot of promotion of the Vyntelligence solution that we're using across the business to highlight the potential for other teams. They may follow slowly. I don't know, but for me, it's about highlighting the opportunities there for us as a business. We are one team at the end of the day, and therefore I should be sort of trying to highlight solutions. And I guess finally, I guess making sure we consider all benefits. So it's very easy to forget about benefits that you can't put a pound sign to. So I know businesses seem obsessed with the pound sign, which is right. I can see that in its simple form. But we need to also consider things that are sort of harder to put a pound sign to, such as customer expectation for us, the risk of complaints, how customers see us as a sort of forward-thinking company that utilize this technology in this fashion. So yeah, it's trying to make sure that they come through when you look at a business case. Yeah.
So, thank you so much, and that was really wonderful. And a big round of applause for Euan.
Thanks. So
we are on to our next speaker, and I need to unpin you. And I'm going to share my screen again. And just for a moment, so that I do the right thing. Yes. So our next winner that we are recognizing today is Andrew Waterworth. He's regional manager of the JLA of installations in JLA. JLA is the UK market leading supplier of commercial laundry equipment, catering equipment, and commercial heating. Andy has been with JLA since 2014, and he's moved to the installation department in November 2019. His background is project management of commercial catering installations, and he has been fortunate to work on some great projects, and he has a real passion for his work, which he says sounds like a cliche, but is absolutely true. He's married with 4 boys. And no, he does not look old enough. He's fortunate to live in Dorset, close to the coast, which is the best place in the world to live, according to him. And in his spare time, Andy is building a kit car that will hopefully be ready for the spring. And this is what my colleagues in customer success say about you, Andy, is Andy is an advocate of using new clever ways of working. He's the Win champion within JLA, encouraging the teams to adopt and adapt new technology so that JLA can achieve more with less. Fewer customer visits and quick service are always on the top of his agenda. And I'm now going to stop sharing the screen because I thank you very much for somebody who gave me the tip that I needed to stop sharing the, oh, sorry, I need to, yep, there we are. I've got the technology sorted now. So, Andy, I'm conscious you joined the desktop scoping project team in JLA when Vyn was in flight.
Yep.
And what business benefits did you see with using Vyn for scoping customer installations rather than the traditional scoping method of sending an engineer to the customer location after a sale has been made?
So our original brief is we would send an engineer to go and scope and make sure the services are correct or the installation application's correct. By introducing the Vyn, that the ASM or salesman in our case is always going to go and meet the customer and have that initial meeting. We would then book an appointment using our direct labour resource, which all takes time. What we found was that initial visit, the salesman is in front of the customer. We capture the video and there's various prompts during the video, or the Vyn app we call it. So that prompts the ASM to check for the correct things. So first of all, that he doesn't let anything go by. I then get an alert where a couple of us within the business get an alert. We look at that video and straight away we can make an assessment and desktop scope it. So that saves the time for us to plan for an engineer to visit. We save the obviously the engineer visit, which is a tangible saving. I think in FY21 we completed 108 what we call desktop scopes as a result of a successful Vyn. We put a figure of about £75 per visit based on an engineer's direct cost. So that was something in the region of over an £8,000 saving. Also, there's the speed of service as well. So that's a shorter cycle as well. So the customer experience is much better.
Thank you so much. So that's kind of, which just means that people like you in the back office, your job gets a little easier. So, and what you said was that before you would send the engineers to do the pre-installation scoping, yep. And, now the ASM is doing the same thing after they complete a customer visit.
Yep.
So, are there any insights you would like to share on what motivated ASMs to make the change?
So, I think
to do this additional bit which they were not doing earlier.
I think like every business, there's people that buy into it and see the opportunities and the benefits as Euan touched on, and then there's others that sort of look at it, technology, I've got a bit more work to do myself. But what we've done is really focus on a bit like you do, Marla. You sort of tap into the people that see the benefits, and you get the people to buy into it, and then it becomes a natural progression within the business. So a couple of the key benefits. So the ASM can capture the information, and we think quite often to the customer that gives a more professional service. They can see that the ASM isn't there just trying to do the hard sell, which often salesmen, I'm sure there's a few on the call, and they've all got a bad name, or often got a bad name for all about the hard sell. By bringing this level of technical scoping, maybe it gives the customer a bit of insight that it's not just all about the sale. They're actually looking at the services in situ. So I think that gives customers a sense of confidence. A big one as well from the salesman, what we're looking at is a quicker turnaround of the sale. I think in this day and age and the world we live in today more than ever, everything's about speed of service. And certainly we saw that during the COVID pandemic, where our industry was very much at the forefront of infection control, whether it be in nursing homes with laundry or dishwashers that kill bacteria. There was a heightened sense of that speed, and also obviously with the reduced contact. So that video we found turned the average visit from the ASM to the approved scope in the normal journey was about 10 days. If we have the VIN scope created by the ASM, we've reduced that to approximately 5 days. So that's a real tangible benefit. And ultimately, the ASM salesman is paid his commission based on when that sale's complete. So the shorter that journey, the buy-in is from the salesman also that he's going to get his commission quicker. So it's a sort of a win-win, really.
Yeah, I'd love to say that it was a win-win.
Definitely. I
So
missed the beat there, didn't I?
when I spoke to you earlier, you mentioned that there has been an exceptional situation where the VIN scope was done in 45 minutes. So I hope, you're able to do more of those 45-minute VIN scopes rather than 5 days, which in itself is a great kind of an improvement. And what I hear you say that it's also increased your customer confidence, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think customers see that the person that they've traditionally thought of as just wanting to sell them something is actually taking the effort to check the distribution board, the fuse board, obviously within constraints of safety. They're also checking the water is in situ, the waste is in situ. Sometimes some of them will even have a look at a gas meter. So the customer has a sense that this person that is stood with them is actually capturing some really important information. And that, I think that gives a customer a sense that this person that traditionally they maybe would be a little bit cynical of is actually taking the effort to capture information that hopefully will speed up the process for them and have a better sort of end-to-end journey with them.
Amazing. So I'm aware that at JLA, you folks started with one use case, but as we speak, your teams are using VIN also across customer assisted fix, and as evidence for job completion as well. What are some of the measurable benefits that the leadership team is seeing with VIN?
So I mean, as Euan touched upon, the biggest one that everybody talks about is the money, and we can see the huge potential savings. Our chief finance officer has a weekly email come out looking at the volume of face-to-face visits, and then it extrapolates that into a cost saving. And we think we should be saving, potentially 130,000, 140,000 pound a year in saved visits alone. And we've got to consider that's a direct labour cost. What we're not actually including is then the indirect cost of that engineer's time that's freed up to install another piece of equipment. So the benefit is twofold: the direct labour cost saving, and then the indirect. And we think 130,000, 140,000 pound per year is a really easy target to aim for. Absolutely.
Amazing. So when you say direct, the face-to-face meetings, it is about the salesperson making the sale face-to-face so that they can do the, VIN as well to ensure that you make the saving. So finally, what are some of your top tips for the audience over here?
I think for us, it's as Euan said, the relationship between us and yourselves. We have a bi-weekly call with Vynner and some of the others from the team, Vicky and Hattie now. And that's really embedded in us. I think to have a bi-weekly meeting is phenomenal. I think the support from you guys is fantastic. So it's all about looking sideways. as Euan touched upon, it's about saying this is what we use it for in our world, but within the business, where are those constraints? As you touched upon, Mala, we're already looking at other opportunities for customer assisted fix, which is very similar to the application Euan has, with customers are able to send us a video. So they're sent a one-shot link, they upload a video on a similar scenario on fault calls. So but yeah, it's being open-minded to what benefits it can bring across the business, and absolutely. I think also then another benefit we find is that other people can view the video. So once it's captured once, we can then share that with the engineer that's going to do the job as well. So even if the engineer hasn't been to the site, he can also see that video, and we've got it there forever. So maybe in 3 months' time, a customer might talk about an added piece of equipment. Well, we can very easily review the video again. We've got it; it's kept, it's saved forever, and there's that review of that. So many benefits.
Yeah, thank you so much. And so you're talking about data flow and about how, the same application can be used across multiple parts of the business. So on that, note, I'd like to kind of segue to and flow the conversation from you to Mike Clapper. But first, let me just say thank you very much and a big round of applause for Andy from all of us.
Thank you, Mala.
Thank you. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unpin you and find Mike. There you are, Mike. Make you a spotlight and quickly share my screen and get back to not sharing my screen after that. So Mike, thank you very much for joining us, and we are very excited to commend you as a Star Vynner. And for everybody in the audience, Mike Clapper is customer experience head of customer experience at Cadent Gas. And as many of you would know, Cadent Gas is UK's biggest gas distribution network. And Cadent Gas manages a network of more than 80,000 miles of pipes, which transports gas to 11 million UK customers. So Mike is head of customer experience for the West Midlands network within Cadent, which distributes gas to 1.95 million homes, and the businesses across the West Midlands, including cities such as Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Coventry, Stoke, and Dudley. The network directly employs 700 people and has a direct supply chain of approximately 400 people. And Mike is a rising senior leader with 9 years of experience in the gas industry. An MSc from University of Worcester, Mike joined National Grid in 2012 as a commercial graduate. And his career has been predominantly across the gas distribution in commercial, regulation, and stakeholder management roles. And outside of work, Mike is a keen football fan. He supports Wolves for his sins and has recently dusted off the boots to join a veterans league. I wouldn't believe you're a veteran yet so soon, Mike, but is drifting down the pitch to play at centre half. If not at the football pitch, he can be found in the local soft play with his 2 demanding young children, and is an avid fan of a slide or a ball pit. An entrepreneur at heart, and for the few remaining moments of quiet time left in the day, and I know how hard he works because I get emails from him at, I won't say what time, Mike has recently launched a thriving business providing custom designed plantable eco cards for businesses that are keen to leave a positive, lasting impression with their customers. And I'd just like to quickly share a couple of lines that my customer success team has shared about you. Is customer experience is high on Mike's priority. He believes in starting small and expanding quickly. During the early phases of working with Vyn, Mike realized that Vyn can transform how Cadent deals with customer complaints and the positive impact on NPS. Since then, he's found multiple use cases in Cadent Gas where visuals from the field are helping in decision-making, moving fast, and delighting the customer. Thank you, Mike, and thank you for joining us today. The last on our panel of 3 winners today. What was the compelling business problem you were looking to solve with innovative solutions like Vyn?
So good afternoon. Thanks for having me on. I remember being in a room, must be around a year ago, with a couple of members in my team and also some of the reinstatement teams. And we were at the time we were going through a real challenging period with our complaint performance, our kind of regulated complaint performance. And one of the key drivers behind that is how quickly you can close a customer's complaint. And it's not as simple as just speaking to a customer and then we close it and hope that something happens. It's you have to have been out to site, have rectified that issue. And the really challenging ones are where we've damaged somebody's property, we've damaged their slabs, we've left a hole in the wall, we've not left a good final impression, and that's difficult to do by day +1. Today being day 0, tomorrow being day +1, because you've got to send somebody out to do the task. And the existing model was all around, okay, so we've got a complaint, let's react really quickly, let's send somebody out to go and look at that, who's a specialist, and they'll go and look at that and they'll say, oh, that's a 600mm buff riven slab, and this is where we need to source it from. And then somebody else will go out and replace that slab. So it's quite, it takes time. It's a really challenging type to rectify and to achieve a regulatory sort of outcome tick in the box. So at the time we were sat in the room thinking there must be a better way of doing this that doesn't involve sending somebody out. It doesn't feel like that's the right thing all the time. Let's just get some really good visual from site, from the customer ideally, so that's less work on our part, and then just have confidence and raise the task and fix it. I mean, ideally we wouldn't break it in the first place, but let's try and fix the here and now before we perfect the model. So that was the initial issue that we had, and then it was sort of just an interaction with Kapil over LinkedIn one afternoon that sort of got the ball rolling, and we had a discussion about how that might work in practice and how we might overcome that. But at the time, I think we were also having some other sort of challenge statements or real customer challenge issues that sat, I guess, in my scope of accountability or interest. Some of them are outside of mine. And some of those were in the connections space. So we've got a few different key work types. One of those is connections for new customers or existing customers who want to move a gas meter or move a gas asset. And one of those was around the lead times in the West Midlands. And when we looked at the lead times, it was taking far too long for a connection for what should be a relatively simple task in some of those instances, but not all. And we recognised there was almost like a 1 to 2 week lead time delay just in the point in which a customer had accepted and paid for the work, but we were going to go and survey it. And that was down to the model that we have of, okay, well, we'll come and survey it when we're ready, regardless of when you're ready. And it fits into our plan because we've got to drive there. So we just thought that feels like an old model to fit into our plans rather than around the customer. It's not very 21st century. It's not very up to date. And then we had a number of other challenge statements around. Actually, when we go out to survey the work and we need to change the scope of what the customer wants, they've already accepted it and paid for it at this point. So then we have to go through a variation process and a refund process quite a lot of the time. And again, that's just a poor customer experience journey because of the refund process. So customer doesn't actually get the refunds until weeks after the work's been finished, which in the meantime, they've had their customer satisfaction survey and you see it in the scores that they haven't received their refunds back yet. One of the other sort of challenge statements that we were recognising at the time was around aborted visits. So our team would turn up on the day to deliver the work and the customer was not ready for us because they didn't understand our instruction or they hadn't completed it. They hadn't dug their correct trench depths. They still got scaffolding in place that's classed as a risk and we couldn't undertake the work. So we had teams that were idle or would need to then do something on behalf of the customer that they hadn't sort of paid for. So we were running at a cost in the process. And then again, at the same time, we were off the kind of during peak COVID, I suppose, when people were reluctant to want a surveyor to turn up, especially when that surveyor was going from house to house to house to house. It didn't feel like right in the sort of COVID environment, particularly for customers that were shielding or vulnerable, but still wanted a gas connection. So we were really trying to identify a better way. And it came quite clear, although we had a slightly different initial challenge statement, that we really needed to focus on connections and find a better way of delivering a customer experience. So that was the kind of opportunity which created for us, I guess, a 6-month kind of trial. We scoped out with 3 really clear sort of customer-led touch points to try and improve or to challenge those areas that we had.
Yeah, so I guess it was around simplifying the surveyor's work in the light of COVID as well, and simplifying the whole process for the business. So simplifying work life is a core value for us at Vyn as too. So, and I guess you have touched upon some of the benefits that, you realized and are realizing with Vyntelligence. So are there any other benefits that, you would come to mind? So for example, bringing in, I heard you say that can we not do this remotely kind of stuff. So I guess there is a remote capability that you're building as well. Yeah. Are there any other benefits that
I think where Where the Vyn solutions really worked for us, and the reason it's, I guess, gained success and traction and started to really grow arms and legs into so many more parts of the business and across all of our other distribution networks within Cadent, is the fact that it's not just a customer tool. So if it's just a customer tool, that's great for me because I'm interested in customer, and it's better because it reduces the customer's journey. But it does struggle to get buy-in from other people. So if I'm the team leader, if I'm delivering, if I'm digging the hole today, why would I want to take the video or support that if it's not a benefit to them? So the great thing about the Vyn solution I've found is that, so we've got the customer benefit in that we reduce the lead times and we get the job delivered right first time, which limits the consequences upon them. Because if we're late, then their meter provider's late and their gas restoration's late. It has a lot of impacts. So there's certainly customer benefit there. There's absolutely benefit for us in terms of the delivery or productivity or the operation. So firstly, the surveyor's productivity. The surveyor can now desktop survey double-figure jobs in a day without leaving the office, rather than driving to 5 or 6, depending on that sort of day. In terms of geography, so the way that we've structured it, we have 4 areas in the West Midlands, and a surveyor will only survey that area, which means that at the moment a surveyor is on annual leave or on say like a training day, or is ill, or actually we have a spike in volumes of workloads for whatever reason. You have more work in the north of the area today. That becomes a challenge to deliver the surveys, and that's where the traditional backlogs kind of come from. So by creating this remote surveying capability and tool, the customer provides that on-site footage for the surveyor to sit in the desk in the background and to survey it and still come to that quality outcome at the end, then geography is not a boundary anymore and is irrelevant. So you have 4 surveyors that can now do each other's work and support each other's ebbs and flows. So there's a huge value there. I mean, another one around productivity and delivery, the reason why it makes business value is that you have far less replanning and waste because you're delivering on time first time. You haven't got to replan your teams, you've got to replan your jobs, you've got to reapply for your permits. So this frees up street works time, reinstatements time, teams time. There's so many business productivity benefits then that's the pound coins, I suppose, that the other people have mentioned. But also, I suppose you've got your health and environment side. So from a safety point of view, and our safety team are really on board now and looking for trialling as well, is RTCs and road traffic collisions are one of our kind of key safety incidents and risk areas. And you're reducing the need to drive to site for a number of those surveyors. So you're reducing the health impacts and the potential for them to have incidents or be overtired and driving or be trying to multitask whilst driving, because we know it does happen and it shouldn't. And then equally the environmental benefit that you're taking. Well, this is reducing our carbon footprint and one small step on our long-term plan towards a net zero gas distribution network. I think it's also a really good training tool. So for a team on site, how do you show them what a good site looks like, other than the site that they're in front of that they've just dug? You can pull out the Vyn video and show them, another team over in the south of the network, this is how they achieve this out. And you can start to talk about best practice and share that really easily on site, but also in the background. So if you're upskilling a surveyor, you can actually sit next to each other and do 7 or 8 or 9 jobs in a morning and share best practice. And equally, you can probably have a debate around what a tidy site looks like. You likely have difference of opinion on that tidy site.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've learned today from you, Mike, is that you are a fountain of ideas, and and I can see that the way you are looking at it is that if you can capture data early on, it can flow through across the value chain. So just to kind of, I'm conscious of time, then I'd like to request a final question on what kind of top tips would you share for those looking to embed a step change in their processes with a technology like Vyn?
I think it's probably one that I've learned is through this is have one really clear idea of what you want to achieve, and then just go with that single case, because as you roll it out, you will find all of these use cases. And that's probably one of the challenges now. We've got all of these great ideas, but actually delivering on that sort of first and second ideas is almost paramount, because then you build up the business sort of appetite. That's probably what I would suggest. And I think we've only touched 20% of the potential so far. So yeah.
Thank you so much. And thank you very much. Now I will hand over back to Charu. And thank you very much. And big round of applause for Mike. Thank you, Mike. Really appreciate it. So let me find Charu on my screen. Okay, I'm going to unpin you first so that... Okay.
Well, I think there's some network issue on Charu's side, so I'll pick it up.
Okay, fine. Okay, so that's great then. Let me just...
So Charu and I were actually taking out all the information and especially the top tips that we want to share as some bullet points for people to take away. Mala, I think I have updated the slide.
So let me just kind of bring it up for you. There you are.
All right, brilliant. So thank you, Mike, Andy, and Euan, in reverse order from where we started. So what we have done in the background while we were talking, yourselves and Mala were talking, we just picked up the top tips that we can actually share and spread across. What we have learned here very simply is from the Star Vynners is that there should be a very clear clarity of the business problem from the outset, whether what you are trying to solve through Vyn. If you are clear on the business problems, probably everything else flows away easily or flows in easily. The second top tip that we received or we understood from our Vynners, give me one second, is it's very good to work in the partnership. So it's not just a seller and a customer relationship. It's we work together, we win together, we lose together. So it's very important to work in a partnership. The third one is consider the wider benefits and opportunity across the organization. This was probably the common theme across all the three speakers, is consider the wider applications. It's not just one area where you started with, but then other parts of the business are going to benefit from the similar solution or same platform, but a different solution or a different workflow or a different use case, but the platform still remains the same. A very important tip that came in is also not just focus on the pound figure that you are saving, but reflect on the non-tangible benefits, whether it's a faster delivery, time back to the crews or your own staff to spend more time with your friends and family instead of actually driving across the country, across different sites. The big one, another one was don't be afraid to start small. Don't think about an end-to-end solution that it should be ready on day one. Start small and then expand. And last one is be open to adopting your own processes and procedures when you're bringing about the change, and it's a change, the big change. It's not the technology that will help you, but that will not only help you, but adapting your own processes with the newer technology and newer ways of working is the one that would be really helpful to be the winner. So with that, what I would like to do is pick up on the question and answers. Let me bring my chat on. And there were a couple of questions, if I know correctly. So no particular order or not to every specific speaker, but the first questions that has come from Adur is, what are the first steps towards incorporating a solution like Vyn and bring about a change and efficiency in the business? So how to start Vyn? Euan, Andy, Mike, whoever wants to pick this one up.
Unfortunately, I wasn't at the start of the process with you guys or as our business implemented it, Vineet. But I think it's certainly to sit down as one of your main points, understand what you're trying to achieve, and then design the Vyn around it. So the sort of the workbook, and decide how it's going to look, and then obviously test that in a non-live application, and then see how it comes across. As I say, I wasn't there in the early stages, so maybe Euan or Mike have got a slightly different view on it.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's about defining that problem right at the start and having a very clear problem statement to work from. It's not to say that you can't build off that and you'll spot other opportunities along the way, but I'd say define a set problem that this could be used for first. Mike, I don't know if you've got anything to add.
I was going to just say, identifying quite early on where the purse strings are in the business to initiate or to trial this, and it reminded me of a video. If you've not seen the video, this makes no sense, but there's a video of this crazy dancer at this gig, and he's dancing on his own alone for about 3 minutes and looks absolutely crazy, and then a few people join him, and then the whole crowd join. And it's a little bit like that at the beginning. It's one or two crazy people dancing until you kind of sell this, or this really gets picked up, and then everybody joins you. It's great, but at the very beginning, you need somebody to partner with you with the money that makes this sort of happen as well. So I'd say identify that early on.
Really, I agree. And they're the right ones. The other one that came up, that's more from me, really less on the chat right now, is what would be advice to somebody who's starting on the journey of change, currently is completely on paper or say non-digital format? What would be advice to them is how do they think about moving everything digital or where to start from paper to where they should go, what they should be thinking? I think more of a Mike or Euan's question.
So I'm just thinking one of the opportunities, and it's not part of the trial initiative, but it's what we're looking for as one of the next steps in our pre-construction activities, is how you replace the paper-based forms, because taking a paper form off a site operative or off a pre-construction designer who's used to that and has done that way for 30 years is the real challenge. But with the opportunity that we're looking at with the sort of Vyn solution is that person can walk across the scheme, can talk to, be loading up a Vyn, and it'll pre-populate that form for them. So they no longer need to fill in that form, but it's capturing their voice and captures that data points as they identify things like specialist driveways or compensation events. Overcoming those that probably rely on paper or are used to paper and bringing them on board early on. Otherwise, it kind of fails because your delivery people who are rolling out aren't sort of on board and will need cajoling.
Thanks, Mike. I'm conscious of time. There is only 1 minute left. So if there are no more questions, probably we can move to the next slide. Great. So as a part of this event today, the Vynners community, what Vyntelligence is offering everyone who is here, our partners, our prospective customers, and others who are on this call, a free technology trial for 2 weeks. So it's basically to get the technology in your hand, try it in your processes, whether it works for you or not, whether it's something that you can actually build small and expand. So we are offering a free trial. It's up to you. You can contact anyone from the team from Vyntelligence to initiate that trial. Of course, the free trial comes with certain conditions, saying that we're going to give you some pre-standard storyboards and dashboards to experience the ease of capture, collaboration, and get insights into that data-driven dashboards. So that's a free offer on the back of the event today. And other than that, I would like to thank to everyone here who has been, oops, I don't know what was it, but I would like to say thank you to everyone here today, especially our guest speakers who have shared the valuable tips and inputs for us to learn from. What I'm going to do is type a feedback form on the chat, where it's a Google form. If you can spare a minute or 2 minutes to give us feedback. This feedback will help us to shape the next event, which is in February 2022. We'll announce the date sooner to the event. Everybody is going into the Christmas break in next month or so. Nearer to the event, we will share the exact date and the format and also the guest speakers. But you have a form here on the chat, which you can click Google form and give your feedback. What would you like us to do in future in the similar kind of events? Or who would like, what kind of business problems would you like to talk about? And we can shape our event accordingly. So, and also for the speakers, thank you very much once again. And that is it from us today.